At the next intersection, turn on Gears with Sasha Martinengo.
All right, let's turn our attention to the world of Formula One. Of course, as always, brought to us compliments of Pirelli and Tiger Wheel and Tyre. And you stand a chance of winning a trip to any Formula One Grand Prix in 2014. All you have to do is go and visit twt.to. Yesterday, Daisy, of course, looked after you with Formula One news. I'll give you my 2 cents worth on the Grand Prix in a short while. But there are some very interesting and debatable stories that are coming out at the moment. Big story that was released mid-late afternoon yesterday was that there seems to be a deal that has been done. Okay. Between Quantum, which is a motorsport company, and Lotus. Now, this is the deal that we've been waiting for a long time. Originally, it was called Infinity Racing, but then there was a problem because Infinity also belongs to the Nissan Group, and Infinity are part of the Renault Group, and Infinity is also the brand name that is used on the Red Bull car. So it became Quantum Motorsports. Now, there's the chief executive, Mansoor Ijaz, and he's confirmed that the purchase of a stake in Lotus has been done. 35%. In the Jenny Capital team has been completed. And they have said, well, he has told Eric Boulier, basically the team principal at Lotus, to go and sign Nico Hülkenberg. I'm expecting later on today that this is going to be, what do they call, ratified and done. But I think there's just one or two little I's to dot and T's to cross, and hopefully that'll be done. That will then open up the market completely, because everyone has been expecting, and we're hoping, that Hülkenberg and Grosjean are going to be 2 Lotus drivers. Thereafterwards, of course, it makes it completely open, because we have got the likes of Pastor Maldonado looking for rides. We've got Paul Di Resta, etc., lots of them. In other driver news as well, the Caterham team, who have Charles Pic and Guido van der Garde as their 2 drivers. Now, let's be honest. The Caterham, we know, is not the most brilliant car on the grid. But I do think it is a little bit better than what these 2 drivers have shown. And what have they done? I don't think much. There's a big talk that both of them could well be dropped from the Caterham organization, and then open up space for 2 drivers as well. Now, today is the start of the GP2 test in Abu Dhabi, where we're going to see some of the potential future Formula One drivers going out there to do their stuff. Now, one of the drivers, who is the winner of the Formula Renault 3.5 Championship, is Kevin Magnussen. And Magnussen was touted to go and do his GP2 test today with I think it was the Dams team? Yeah, with the Dams team. Now, the thing is, Kevin Magnussen has all of a sudden pulled out, which we find very strange, because he's got a very good relationship with Dams, and he raced with Dams before, but all of a sudden he pulled out. Now, the problem is that Dams now don't have another driver to come and take his place. And because of that, they're going to get fined $20,000. But the big question is, why has he pulled out? Well, there's a little bit of doubt over whether Sergio Perez will be retained at McLaren after only 1 season, and perhaps they jump in Kevin Magnussen to go up there. Although everyone is saying Magnussen is going to take part in GP2. It's a very suspicious story at the moment. The McLaren organization rate this kid very, very highly. But I sit there and think, why keep Button ahead of Perez? But that's just my personal opinion. The press have now warmed to the fact that Sebastian Vettel is a 4 times world champion. There were some great headlines that came out all over the world. Looking at some of them that came out in Italy, La Gazzetta dello Sport said, like Schumacher, Vettel is insatiable. Perfect, unassailable, invincible. It's as though he's in another category. Also in Italy, the Corriere dello Sport said, although he has conquered his 4th title, Vettel shows no sign of fatigue or a lack of motivation. Italy's biggest daily, La Repubblica, said, for Vettel, the track seems shorter, the corner smoother. He drives like a prima ballerina dances with elegance and strength. And finally, the Corriere della Sera says, Vettel is a voracious master, using a racetrack created just for him with an enemy badly under pressure from such a phenomenon. How's that for praise? Not bad at all. Finally, Fernando Alonso, his injuries are okay, and he should be fine to take part in America and, of course, in Brazil. For those who didn't see what happened with Fernando Alonso over the weekend, he came out of the pit lane very, very quick. He was also, he was under, well, I wouldn't say he was under pressure, but he was very exuberant about what he wanted to do. He had the Toro Rosso of Jean-Eric Vergne right up on the next to him, and of course he had Felipe Massa, his teammate, behind him. And basically went onto the racing line, and you can't blame Jean-Eric Vergne. Jean-Eric Vergne's going into a right-hander. He's not necessarily looking what's on his left-hand side. Alonso came from his left-hand side. There was no room on the track. Alonso kept his foot in it, went off the track and hit one of the, it's like a safety bump in the road. And they reckon the force that hit him was about 25 Gs, 25 times his body weight. He had a back problem, but everything seems to be okay. So finally, looking at the Grand Prix, just to let you know, my 2 cents worth. Vettel was sublime. He gave us another performance which was quite synonymous to what he did in Singapore. He just shows you, and believe me, I think he could have gone faster as well. For the rest, I think there was some terrific racing behind. A great result for Nico Rosberg. Romain Grosjean, I think Lotus got their pit stops incorrect. And then, of course, there was the issue of the stewards' decisions. Hülkenberg was let down by his team. They let him out of the pit lane, or out of his pit box too early, and that was an unsafe release, so he had a drive-through penalty. And then there was the whole debate. Did Alonso deserve to get a penalty or not? I'll be honest, when I first saw it, I sat and said, yes, I do. Afterwards, you've got to get an explanation. The thing about it is we're not having the consistency. We started off the race with Raikkonen right at the back of the grid for a part failure on the front wing, which was caused by hitting a curb. The same thing happened in Hungary to Romain Grosjean's car. The exact same part failed because of hitting a curb. There was no penalty given in Hungary, but now there's a penalty given here. Where's the consistency in that? Also, when we were in India, we saw a lot of the drivers driving all over the track. And there's got to be the definition of the track limits. The racetrack is between the 2 white lines. If you take all 4 wheels out of those white lines, then you are definitely abusing the circuit. If there wasn't a runoff area and a brick wall there, you wouldn't be using that part of the track. So the whole thing about it is that we saw the use of track limits as early on in the second turn of the race with Felipe Massa. Gutierrez was all over the place. Loads of cars used excessive track limits. And that's why I think the stewards were forced not to take a decision against Fernando Alonso, because everybody else was also abusing the track limits. So we need some consistency, and also we need some of these track runoff areas to be tightened up significantly. There we go. That is a look at our Formula One news. I'm sure, well, hopefully before 3 o'clock, we'll get some news regarding the Lotus deal with Nico Hülkenberg. As always, brought to us compliments of Pirelli and Tiger Wheel and Tyre, and you stand a chance to win a trip to any Formula One 2014 Grand Prix. Just go and visit twt.to.
Get that and your other favorite sound clips from bulls.co.za now.